Well, I think the first thing I think of when I see somebody from Auburn is basically home. I'm a long way from home. My name is Don Moseley. I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, and I went to Auburn University and graduated in 1973. I'm a producer right now here at the NBC television station in Chicago, where I do mostly stories on politics and investigations. I worked for NBC in Chicago from 1980 to 1997, worked for CBS News for 5 years, left in 2002, did some documentaries, a documentary film for CNN, one for New York Times Discovery, and one that aired locally. And then in 2004 came back to NBC here in Chicago and have been here ever since, doing stories on the good, the bad, and the ugly of Chicago politics and those who sort of run afoul of the law. In my junior year, I declared my major for communications, and the rest is history. And it was a great thing for me because it really what interested me, and I had a major in communications with a minor in journalism and history. I worked at the campus radio station just as it was beginning, WEGL, and it was a wonderful place and a remarkable place to work because it gave us all sorts of opportunities, like a working lab, and I was there the second year that it was after it had been started. I think those sorts of opportunities, whether it's the radio station or the plainsman or whatever, that when students get the chance to do that, and it gives them some real-world application, and that is invaluable experience for them. It certainly was for me, and I know it was for people who I graduated with who went on into the business and are thankful that they got their start there and were able to do that. So my senior year, I was the news director at WEGL, and Muhammad Ali came to speak on campus. And he was, because I was the news director, I was going to introduce him at a press conference that the radio station was carrying live from 5 to 5:30. His handlers came in and said 5 to 5:30. Starts at 5:30. He's out of there. He's got other things to do. So I introduce him, and he begins his questions and answers. At 5:27, I walk up next to him, and I say, "I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but we have time for only one more question." Ali turned, looked at me, and yelled, "Boy, don't you ever tell me how much time I have." He picked me up by the lapels of my coat, carried me off stage, set me down, patted me on the chest, smiled, and said, "Are you okay?" And all I could do was nod and mutter something unintelligible. He went back out, he took 2 or 3 more questions, and left. And that is my favorite Auburn story. I had a journalism professor by the name of Mr. Logue, and he had given us an assignment. And the assignment that I got, I had to go to the library to find a book that had the answers that would complete the assignment. I went to the library, and the book was checked out. And so the next class period, I came back, and when it was my turn, Mr. Logue called on me, and I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't have the assignment done because I went to the library and the book was checked out." He didn't say a thing. He turned his back to the class and wrote 2 words on the blackboard, and those words were "be resourceful." He turned around to the entire class and looked at me and said, "Mr. Moseley, be resourceful." Those 2 words are the most important lesson I learned at Auburn, and they stay with me to this very day. One of the things that strikes me is that when I talk about Auburn to my friends in Chicago, I always begin the sentence with, we did this or we did that. We did this and we did that. And they always look at me and they say, they did this, they did that. And I say, no. I mean, this is we. And I think it's a concept that a lot of people don't get, that no matter where you are, whether time and space and distance and all those things separate you, that you always stay a part of the family. And so it really is always we, and it's not them and it's not they, it's we, and that to me is what Auburn is all about and always will be. My name is Don Moseley. This is My Auburn Story and War Eagle.